Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to look at a basic shirt with detachable sleeves. These are the cut panels, two front, here is the back, sleeves, and the sleeve, as I said, is detachable. The lower half of the sleeve is darker grey or charcoal, and the top sleeve is a lighter shade, and the zipper is going to be attached in between. The zipper will be hidden using a flap of 2 inches width. The first step is to finish the plackets. There are so many starting points to a shirt, but I always prefer to do the plackets first. I find this flow very efficient. So here I am just folding the plackets and ironing them. I'm not using an interfacing or a fusing because this is a casual shirt made of linen. Next I'm going to stitch the plackets closer to the edge as close as possible. The next step is to attach the shoulder. The seam that I am using here is called a French seam, where the seam is self-finished, meaning it doesn't have seam allowances with raw edges on the wrong side just floating around. To do the seam, stitch the shoulder wrong sides together with half an inch seam allowance, then trim the seam allowance to quarter inch, and then turn the seam and press the seam properly. Stitch close to quarter inch allowance to hide the raw edges. Then fold the seam allowance towards the back and stitch it down with quarter inch distance from the seam. Now comes the exciting part with the sleeves. The sleeves have patch pockets with flaps. I'm going to prep the pocket by folding the edges. To stitch the pocket to the sleeve, make sure the center of the sleeve aligns with the center of the pocket, but the distance between the sleeve curve is similar because obviously the front curve is deeper than the back curve. So slightly maneuver the pocket so it looks properly placed. Next, the flap should be prepared. Then stitch the flap to the sleeve above the pocket. The next step is to attach the zipper to the sleeve. Fold and iron the sleeve hem and attach one side of the zipper, leaving 1 inch on either side. Stitching the zipper to the bottom of the sleeve isn't advisable because it may be uncomfortable when it touches the skin, so keep it in between the flap and the sleeve. The flap is about 2.5 inches and it is folded in half and it should be attached to the zipper. After attaching the flap, the other zipper needs to go on the bottom side of the sleeve. So trim the zipper to the correct size and stitch it to the grey panel, leaving 1 inch on either side. After finishing the zipper part, stitch the sides using the French seam. Attach the cuff to the hem of the sleeve. Now is the tricky part where the zipper should be attached to the other sleeve. This sleeve is the opposite of the sleeve that you've already sewn. Unfortunately, there isn't a pair of zippers that are a pair with runners on the opposite ends. So we can improvise by just flipping the direction of the zipper, which basically means if the first sleeve you stitched as the zipper running from front to the back, the other sleeve should be vice versa. Now we can go ahead and attach the collar to the shirt. Once you have both the sleeves prepared, the next step is to stitch the sleeves to the body. The sleeve that I am using here is called a flat felt seam. Basically, attach the panels wrong side together for 3-4 inches. And trim one of the seam. In this case, trim the body seam allowance to 1/4 inch and then fold the seam allowance of the sleeve to cover the body seam allowance. Press it flat and stitch it down to the body. Now the only step left is to attach the side seams and finish the bottom hem. To do the side seam, I am going to first attach the side pockets. Make sure the pocket placement is a little bit higher because you don't want the pocket bag to be hanging below the hem. I've added a small grey panel to the bottom hem and I've used French seam like as usual to finish the side seam. Hope you enjoyed the process and try it yourself. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.